Hi, students. I hope you're doing well. For the announcement today, I thought it would be really good for me just to hit a few midterm key points to review. We're right here at the middle of our semester. And so I wanted to go over some specific things to this week, but I also just kind of wanted to give you an overview of kind of where we're at and just help you in some of the nuances of the class. So the first thing that I want to bring up, and as you can see, I've got a little outline here that you can follow by, but submitting homework grades. So for a lot of you, you're really struggling to turn in discussion boards or to turn in outlines. And one of the things that I want you to remember is that a lot of these assignments we're doing, especially outlines and rough drafts and citation practices, those are building blocks for your major assignments. So when I don't get an opportunity to give you feedback on those things, it really harms your grade for some of those major assignments that are due that have a pretty good emphasis on your grade. So I want to make sure that you're submitting homework. I also want to remind you I don't accept late homework. I know some of you, there have been crisis situations and COVID issues, and that's one thing. But for the rest of you, whether it's that you just forgot or you didn't plan well or other issues like that, you really need to try to get in those homework assignments because those zeros really do add up and affect your grade. One thing I did want to say, and I want to iterate, is some of you have submitted assignments that you did incorrectly and you received a 0. For those of you that submitted assignments on time and you just didn't do it right, I always give you the opportunity to redo that assignment. So for example, if you did the outline and you didn't do it correctly and I gave you feedback and you either made a 0 or you didn't pass it, I'm more than willing to allow you an opportunity to get a passing grade. Now, if you made a 70 or an 80 and you're trying to make 100, I don't have time to regrade all of those assignments. But if you just did it completely wrong and you want to have a chance to pass, I'm always going to give you that opportunity. I can't give you full credit because that's not fair to the other students, but I can give you an opportunity to reach a passing grade. So the next thing I want to talk about is the actual outline assignment because there were several issues on this and I really want to go over it because your rough draft is coming up. So some of you are just simply not understanding the prompt. If you go to your course reading materials and you download the annotated bibliography and short research assignment, the prompt is asking you to think about the field that you're going into, and then you are supposed to be identifying character qualities that you feel make the ideal candidate for your field. Guys, that's going beyond basic skill sets and education. So for your thesis statement, to say things like, oh, to be a nurse, you need to be well educated is not going to be good enough. I'm asking you to take all that out of consideration and consider something like this. 10 people might go to nursing school and they may graduate. They may have the education, they may have the experience, they may have had great mentors that taught them, but that does not mean that all 10 are going to be great nurses. Why is that? Well, it's because nurses should be compassionate. They should have empathy. They should have great collaborative skills or a collaborative nature with their colleagues so that they can learn from one another. I'm asking you to talk about those ideas, to go beyond the basic skill sets. Some of you we're not understanding that component, and it's in the handout, and I've mentioned it before, but I just want to reiterate it. So your thesis statement should outline those ideas. In your thesis statement, you should have listed 3 to 5 character qualities that really emphasize the ideal candidate for that field. And then along those same lines, I want to talk about topic sentence issues that I'm seeing. So, just to review, a topic sentence is the first sentence in your body paragraph. And what the job of the topic sentence is to introduce what you're going to be discussing. So, for this essay, each paragraph should be proving one character quality, not two, not three different ideas, but one character quality. And the reason that I emphasize that so much is because it's impossible to stay organized and to really prove an idea if you're trying to prove multiple ideas in one paragraph. So, for example, let's say paragraph 1 is about empathy. Your topic sentence should use the word empathy. Some of you, what you're doing is you're explaining the process of how a nurse may show empathy in the first sentence. Maybe you're saying something like, in nursing, it's really important to level with your patients and to consider their feelings. You're showing how to do empathy, but you are not introducing that empathy is the key character quality for that ideal candidate. What you're doing is you're explaining before you're introducing the topic. So, what I really want you to focus and work on is make sure you're introducing the topic first, then use those great explanations to support that topic sentence. So, one thing that I want to do is I want to show you an example of a student's really well done outline. So, give me 1 second. And this is one of your peers, and I've removed the name. But some of you also, instead of doing an outline, you sent me paragraphs, and that was not the assignment. The assignment was asking you sentence by sentence for the downloaded document that was linked to that submission link. This is what I was looking for. So I want to show you what a really well-crafted one looks like. So this student did a hook, and just to remind you, a hook is an attention grabber. It grabs the reader's attention. And then here's their thesis statement. The character qualities that make a good lawyer are empathy, the ability to effectively communicate, a desire to learn, enthusiasm, and creativity. And without me going into the entire document, I just want to show you a couple examples of their body paragraph. So for their topic sentence, the student said, for a lawyer to fight for their client, they must have the empathy needed to understand their client's situation. Right there from the beginning, we see the character quality is introduced in our paragraph. And what I want you to recognize is if you go back to this thesis statement, the very first character quality that they said was empathy. And then that was their first body paragraph. So there's this very well done outlining of ideas. Then the student included the 2 articles that they're planning to use. And then we have this really great summative sentence that summarizes the idea. Having empathy allows a lawyer to understand their client's situation and use their own feelings to accurately represent them in court. For the second body paragraph, we see this really good topic sentence that flows seamlessly for the transition. Along with being other oriented, a good lawyer must also have great communication skills. Okay, so again, we see that they have introduced this idea. It's the second idea in their thesis statement, and it's their second body paragraph topic sentence. They use 2 articles to support those ideas, and then we see a summative sentence that says, in order to effectively interact with clients and argue a case, a lawyer must be able to communicate honestly and with persuasion. Again, what I want you to see is there's just this very clear focus on these character qualities. And then we see those character qualities directly stated in the topic sentence. And there's one for each paragraph. So I wanted to show you that to give you an idea of just what a really well-crafted outline looks like. So I'm going to go back to our little guide here. Okay, so I've given you feedback on your outlines. Everybody's outline should have feedback by this point in time. So please review those comments before you begin drafting. I don't want you to make some of the same mistakes that I've seen you make in your outlines and then have to redo all of your work. So I would just really encourage you to go through, look at the overall comments that I left under your grade, and then also go to the document and look at the embedded comments that are on there as well. And then I just want to reiterate your rough draft, which I'm not asking you for the full essay. I'm not going to require you to do that because, in my mind, if you can do one body paragraph well, if you can effectively show me how to write one body paragraph for one character quality, then you can do that for the rest. So, what I'm asking is that you give me your introduction, one body paragraph, and your conclusion. I think if I see those three things, I'm going to have a really good idea of how you're going to perform on this essay. That is due on the 7th. So now that you have your feedback for your outline, you should be ready to write that. You should be ready to go. No issues. The feedback deadline, I'm trying to have feedback to you by the 12th. So that you have 5 days before the final due date. That may change. I've expressed to some of you, I am having a baby this week. And so there is a good chance that that feedback deadline may change for me. And if that's the case, then I will, of course, be extending your final due date. I'm not going to put you in a position where you didn't have at least 5 days to look at what I said, take it into consideration, and then finalize that work. I'm finishing up on your annotated bibliographies. I'm hoping to get those back to you within the next 2 to 3 days. I wanted to do your outlines first so that you could draft and begin your rough draft because that was more important. Because at this point, your annotated bibliography, what I'm really grading on is the content, the quality of your writing, because you know what a peer-reviewed article looks like. You know that you need 6 of them for this essay and that 4 of them are supposed to be peer reviewed. So none of that's new news, but the outline just needed to be done before so that you had a good idea of what you were planning to write this essay. And then finally, the last thing I wanted to go over was we are jumping into a new unit. Once you start drafting and writing your paper, when we come back from spring break, we are going to be jumping into an enemy of the people. And those reading materials are in course reading materials. You will be expected to have read the first act within the first couple of days as we come back from spring break. So if that's something that you want to jump on next week when you have a little bit of a break, I wanted to reiterate that so that you knew that that was available to you. Guys, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope this answers some questions and just kind of reiterate some important things that we needed to discuss before you guys go on break. If you have any questions or if you want to set up a phone conference or a Zoom conference, please feel free to let me know and we will make sure that we take care of that sooner rather than later. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please be patient with me over the next few days. If I know I'm typically very quick to respond to text messages and emails, but with things shifting in my family over the next 5 days, I might be a little bit slower to that, but I promise you that I will get back to you hopefully within 24 to 48 hours. So please reach out if you have any questions before then, and let's make it another great week.